The discussion around Shohei Ohtani never seems to slow down, and once again the spotlight is shining directly on what he could accomplish in the upcoming season. Every year, it feels like the expectations grow even bigger, and yet somehow he keeps finding ways to make the impossible look normal. After another remarkable campaign, the conversation now shifts toward something that still remains unchecked on his list of achievements: the Cy Young Award. It is one of the few honors in baseball that Ohtani has not yet captured, and the idea that he might be chasing it this season is starting to gain serious momentum. Those who follow him closely know that Ohtani rarely announces his personal goals out loud. He is not the type of player who openly declares what he plans to accomplish before the season begins. But the people around him understand how he operates. When he sets a target, he quietly locks in and begins working toward it with a level of focus that few athletes in the world can match. That is why the idea of him pursuing a Cy Young Award is not just speculation. Inside the organization, there is a growing belief that when Ohtani decides to chase something, extraordinary things tend to happen. What makes this possibility even more fascinating is the fact that he already showed flashes of Cy Young caliber pitching not long ago. Last season, even with limited innings compared to traditional starting pitchers, Ohtani delivered performances that placed him among the elite arms in the league. His earned run average hovered around the mid-3 range, and he piled up strikeouts at a pace that rivaled some of the best pitchers in baseball. When you combine that with the control he showed on the mound, limiting free passes and attacking hitters with confidence, the numbers begin to paint a picture that goes far beyond the average starting pitcher. And that is where things get really interesting. When analysts compare pitchers who logged a meaningful amount of innings during the season, Ohtani's rate statistics consistently placed him near the top of the league. Strikeout rate, opponent batting average, and overall effectiveness all pointed toward a pitcher who could compete with the very best. The challenge, however, has never been about talent. Everyone already knows he has that. The real question is volume. Can he throw enough innings across a full season to truly enter the Cy Young conversation? Looking back at his previous years on the mound helps explain the debate. During his time balancing both pitching and hitting responsibilities, Ohtani rarely pushed past the typical workload of a traditional ace. Even so, the results were incredibly impressive. Over multiple seasons, he accumulated hundreds of innings while maintaining an earned run average that ranked among the most respected pitchers in the sport. His strikeout totals were massive, and his ability to overpower hitters while also keeping them off balance made him one of the toughest matchups in baseball. Still, the Cy Young race usually favors pitchers who combine dominance with durability. That means piling up start after start across the entire season. Some of the league's top arms regularly surpass well over 180 innings, sometimes even approaching 200. Ohtani has never quite reached that territory. Managing his workload has always been part of the strategy, especially considering the unique challenge of being both an elite pitcher and one of the most dangerous hitters in the lineup. Even with that limitation, there's a growing sense that if he begins the season on a strong run, the momentum could push him deeper into the race than ever before. If his numbers remain dominant and his strikeout rate stays among the best in the league, voters will inevitably take notice. The key will be maintaining efficiency every time he takes the mound. When a pitcher throws fewer innings than his competitors, every outing carries extra weight. Each start has to be sharp, controlled, and impactful. Of course, the path to the award is far from easy. The league is filled with incredible pitching talent, and several young stars are already putting together historic stretches early in their careers. One name that constantly comes up in these conversations is Paul Skeens, a pitcher whose dominance has left fans and analysts stunned. His ability to shut down opposing lineups while piling up strikeouts has quickly made him one of the most feared arms in the game. When comparing statistics, his earned run average and overall dominance last season were among the best seen anywhere in the sport. That reality creates an even bigger challenge for Ohtani. Not only would he need to perform at an elite level, but he would likely have to outperform pitchers who are already delivering historically strong seasons. That means the margin for error becomes incredibly small. A few rough outings could shift the narrative, while a long streak of dominant starts could instantly push him to the front of the race. Yet if there is one thing baseball fans have learned over the past few years, it is that Ohtani thrives when expectations reach their highest point. The combination of pitching excellence and offensive power already separates him from every other player in the sport. He is not just competing with other pitchers or hitters. He is redefining what a single athlete can accomplish within one season. Just think about the kind of conversation that is happening right now. Fans are seriously debating whether Ohtani could hit 60 home runs, win a Cy Young Award, or even contend for a batting title in the same season. The fact that those possibilities exist at the same time is almost unbelievable. Most players spend their entire careers specializing in one area of the game. Ohtani continues to operate at an elite level in both. That is why the upcoming season carries such a unique level of anticipation. Every start on the mound becomes a storyline. Every swing at the plate adds another layer to the narrative. If he begins the year with dominant pitching performances while also launching home runs into the stands, the conversation around his legacy could reach an entirely different level. And if the pursuit of the Cy Young truly becomes a personal mission for him, the rest of the league may find itself watching something historic unfold. What makes this entire conversation even more incredible is how naturally it unfolds around Shohei Ohtani every single season. For most players, one historic accomplishment would define an entire career. For Ohtani, it feels like the expectations restart every year, almost as if fans are waiting to see which impossible milestone he will chase next. And when people begin debating whether he could win a Cy Young Award while also dominating at the plate, it highlights just how different he is from every other athlete in the sport. The truth is that baseball has seen extraordinary players before. There have been legendary hitters who changed the game with their power, and there have been pitchers who dominated entire eras with their arms. But combining those two abilities at the level Ohtani performs is something the sport has almost never witnessed. That is why every new season creates another layer of excitement. Nobody truly knows where the ceiling is for a player like him. When you start looking deeper into the numbers, it becomes clear that the foundation for a Cy Young run is already there. Even in seasons where his innings total was not among the highest in the league, his efficiency stood out immediately. His strikeout numbers were massive compared to the number of innings he pitched, showing just how difficult it is for hitters to make solid contact against him. His fastball explodes through the strike zone, and when it is paired with his breaking pitches, opposing batters often find themselves guessing rather than reacting. Another element that makes him so dangerous on the mound is his ability to adjust throughout a game. Some pitchers rely heavily on one dominant pitch, but Ohtani approaches hitters with a complete arsenal. He mixes speeds, changes eye levels, and constantly forces batters to reconsider their approach. Over the course of a full game, that variety begins to wear down even the strongest lineups. By the later innings, many hitters are already behind in the mental battle. Still, the biggest question continues to revolve around endurance. The Cy Young Award has traditionally rewarded pitchers who combine elite performance with heavy workloads across the entire season. That means taking the ball every fifth or sixth day and delivering quality outings over and over again. For Ohtani, balancing that demand with his role as one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball adds a level of complexity that few players have ever faced. The team understands that managing his workload is essential. Keeping him healthy for the full season, and especially for the postseason, remains the ultimate priority. That creates an interesting dynamic. On one hand, allowing him to pitch deeper into games could strengthen his Cy Young case. On the other hand, pushing him too hard might risk fatigue at the most important moments of the year. Finding that balance will likely be one of the most important strategies throughout the season. And then there is the offensive side of the equation, which makes the entire situation even more remarkable. While many Cy Young candidates focus exclusively on dominating from the mound, Ohtani steps into the batter's box and continues to produce numbers that rival the most powerful hitters in the league. The idea that he could launch 50 or even 60 home runs while also competing for the league's top pitching award sounds almost fictional, yet remains part of the real conversation surrounding his season. Even the possibility of a batting title occasionally enters the discussion, though that might be the least likely of the three feats. Ohtani has shown he can maintain a strong batting average throughout a season, and he has already produced years where he comfortably hit above the 300 mark. But winning a batting title typically requires an extraordinary level of consistency, often pushing well beyond that range. While it is not impossible, his game has always leaned more toward power production than chasing the highest average. Still, the fact that analysts even consider that possibility speaks volumes about the kind of player he has become. There are very few athletes in any sport who can realistically pursue multiple historic achievements at the same time. In baseball, it is almost unheard of. Yet every time Ohtani takes the field, he adds another example of why comparisons to traditional players often fall short. Another fascinating storyline developing around the pitching race involves the other elite arms competing for the same award. The league is currently experiencing an incredible wave of pitching talent, with several young starters already producing dominant seasons early in their careers. That level of competition means that even a spectacular year from Ohtani might not automatically secure the award. The race could come down to the smallest statistical differences, but sometimes the story behind the numbers also carries weight. Voters often recognize moments that redefine the boundaries of the sport. If Ohtani manages to deliver a season where he remains among the most dominant pitchers, while also producing massive offensive numbers, the historical significance of that achievement would be impossible to ignore. It would not just be another great season. It would represent something baseball has never truly experienced before. Inside the clubhouse, there is also a sense of excitement about what this could mean for the future of the team. Having multiple pitchers capable of competing for the top awards in the league creates a powerful dynamic. It pushes everyone to raise their level, knowing that greatness is expected every time they step onto the field. When one player begins chasing a historic milestone, the entire roster often feels that energy. For Ohtani, that competitive drive seems to be a constant presence. Teammates and coaches frequently describe him as one of the most goal-oriented players they have ever encountered. He studies every aspect of his performance, looking for even the smallest ways to improve. Whether it is refining a pitch, adjusting his mechanics, or analyzing opposing hitters, he approaches the game with relentless attention to detail. That mindset is one of the biggest reasons why people believe he could realistically chase something as demanding as the Cy Young Award while continuing to dominate offensively. It is not just about natural talent. It is about the discipline and focus required to maintain elite performance across multiple roles at the highest level of professional baseball. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Shockwaves rippled through the clubhouse corridors after an alleged outburst attributed to Alex Freeland, a young name whose trajectory had been quietly rising within the Los Angeles Dodgers ecosystem. According to whispers circulating among insiders, Freeland was overheard venting raw frustration, bluntly declaring that he never wants to share the field with a certain teammate again. The remark, sharp and emotional, has quickly evolved into a full-blown rumor that threatens to expose deeper tensions beneath the polished surface of one of baseball's most disciplined organizations. Sources close to the situation suggest the spark was not a single play or isolated disagreement, but a slow-burning clash of personalities, expectations, and roles. Freeland, known for his intensity and demanding standards, is said to feel undermined in moments that matter, perceiving a lack of accountability around him. While no names have been officially attached to the alleged target of his anger, the silence itself has fueled speculation, with fans and commentators parsing body language and dugout interactions for clues. Within the broader Major League Baseball landscape, such tensions are hardly unprecedented, especially when ambition collides with hierarchy. Still, the Dodgers' reputation for internal harmony makes this rumor particularly combustible. Some believe the front office will swiftly smooth things over, framing the episode as competitive passion spilling over. Others fear it could signal a fracture that demands a tougher decision: mediation, reassignment, or a quiet separation disguised as developmental strategy. For now, the organization maintains its customary discretion, offering no confirmation and no denial. That vacuum leaves room for imagination to run wild. Is this merely a young player venting in the heat of the moment, or the first audible crack in a relationship that can no longer be repaired? Until clearer answers emerge, the rumor lingers, a reminder that even in the most successful environments, human friction can erupt without warning. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.